Hi kids, this is Gustav, the native English speaker for Montessori's preschool. And last week we started talking about nature, specifically water, and we talked about oceans. As you can see, there's actually a big map. You can see all the oceans actually. And we talked about seas. Okay. Today we're going to talk about lakes, ponds, rivers, and streams, as well as a few of the animals that are living in each of those places. Okay, so I hope you all remember what we learned last week about water, swimming, ocean, sea, seas, and today we're going to learn about lakes. This is a lake. This is also a lake. Lakes are even smaller than seas. They are so small that sometimes you can even swim across the lake. If you're a good enough swimmer, you could swim right across. Now, just because lakes are smaller than seas doesn't mean that they can't get big. The biggest lakes in the world are near where I live in New York. They are called the Finger Lakes, and there are 5 of them. They are between the United States, the country where I live, and Canada. Those lakes are really big, but lakes can be really small too. For example, in Poznań, there is a lake called Rusałka, and it is one of the smaller lakes in the world. But can you believe we have an even smaller body of water than lakes? We call these ponds. You see how small they are? You can see a car right there. That shows you how small a pond is. We call these pond. Ponds are so small that you could probably run around a pond in just a few seconds. Ponds are so small that you might even have one near your house. Now, all the bodies of water we've talked about so far are bodies of water that do not move. Do you remember when we play that game where everybody runs around and I yell, "Stop"? Well, that's sort of what the bodies of water we have talked about so far are doing. The next type of water I want to talk about is the type of water that does move. This type of water is called a river. This is a river. And this is a river too. River. These are types of water that flow or move. They can move very far. For example, the Nile River in Egypt starts in the middle of Africa and flows all the way up to the Mediterranean Sea. Do you guys remember the Mediterranean Sea? I hope so. We talked about it last week. Rivers can also move a lot of water. For example, the Amazon River in South America moves a lot of water around. It drains the most water in the world. An example in Poznań is called the Warta River. So, rivers move a lot of water around. But what about something like a river except smaller? We call those streams. This is a stream. 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 Streams are much smaller than rivers. They are so small, you might even have one in the forest or woods next to your house. Okay, now let's talk about the types of animals that we can find in lakes and ponds, but we can also find them in rivers and streams sometimes. Of course, we can find the fish. Guys, remember last week we talked about the fish. Fish. But some other animals that we can find are frogs. Frogs. You guys should know this one. We used to hop around like frogs. Remember hop? Frogs. Hop. Frog. Then there are turtles, which we also had last week, except you see, they look a little bit different. This is a sea turtle. It has fins. This is a regular turtle. It has feet. Turtle. Turtle. We also have snails. Snail. Snail. We have ducks. You guys remember duck? Goes quack quack. Duck. We learned this one before. We also have swans. Swans are really pretty. Swan. Swan. We also have beavers. They like to dig dams. And they like to cut down trees with their teeth. You see these teeth right here? Beaver. Beaver. We also have herons. Herons have long feet. And they like to go hunting for frogs. Heron. Heron. We also have some bugs, like this dragonfly right here. Dragonfly. Dragonfly. And finally, we have some amphibious lizards, like this gecko. Gecko. Okay, so I think that's enough for me today. Just remember, we go from biggest to smallest when we are talking about the bodies of water. So we went ocean, sea, lake, pond. Also, we had bodies of water that moved, okay, like river and stream. Next time, we will talk about other sorts of nature, such as forests and plains. Bye, kids!